Okay, this first section here on the inverse trig functions. The main thing here is to note that in order to create inverse functions, we had to mess with the domains for some of these trig functions in order to make sure that they were strictly monotonic. So that's the reason for the restrictions in the domains for the functions. So, for example, uh, the domains now, remember, these ranges, these are for the inverse functions in here. These are the new inverses called arcsine, same thing as the inverse sine function, so forth, arctangent, arccotangent. Another notation that's also used, by the way, is just, for example, arcsine might just be written this way. Okay, I'll use that occasionally myself. So now, again, back to that restriction. I've got these listed as the ranges for our new functions, our inverses, but these were actually the domains for the originals. Okay, for we'll say the original. In other words, not the inverse. So this is the range of the inverse, and it's the domain for the original. So we've restricted. If you change this to an X, you'll see that restriction in each case for the functions. The sine function was restricted in here, cosine, and again, reasoning for that, just very briefly, the sine function comes up like this, and then we stop it here and here, because if we continue, then it will fail the horizontal line test. This is convenient for us. We still get all the values for the sine in here, in the range values, so we haven't lost anything by restricting that domain. Okay, so we still go from -1 to 1 for our range. And by the way, that becomes the new domain for the arcsine. It was the range for the original function. And that's true about the rest of these also. Some restrictions have been made to create these inverse functions. Now let's go ahead and let's solve the problem here. Solve this arctangent. Now what you can do here is just take this and the arctangent. We can make this sort of a mechanical thing. We can take the inverse tangent of the arctangent, because we know that when you do that, this operation undoes, oops, why did that switch like that? Okay, sorry, that scared me. This operation undoes what the arctangent was doing and takes you back to the 3x minus 2. Okay, and now, of course, you have to take the, whoops, I'm sorry, it wasn't an arctangent, inverse tangent, which is the tangent, sorry about that. That's my mistake there, sorry. Okay, so you take the tangent of the arctangent and you get back to 3x minus 2. Now this right-hand side is just the tangent of pi over 3. And that will be, what is that going to be, root 3 over 1, right? So what that does is it gets that x out there. Now we can actually solve this. So we'll have 2 plus root 3, and then we divide by 3. Like so. So we get an answer. So what we found, now down here, remember, the arctangent of this is pi over 3. So the tangent of pi over 3 must be 3x minus 2. That's essentially what it's saying. Okay. All right, so we got our answer there. And a little intro. So